go live right now. All right, so good evening, everyone, and welcome to a new series of Meet Your Design and Fashion School, a series that we do every year. The objective of this series is that we get to interact with the top management of each design school. So we're inviting just the top design schools in India, and you're going to reach out to the management of those schools. Now, we know, each one has their target schools, but we would like you to keep your options open to private schools. And you don't apply to all private schools that come onto your list. You just apply to a few selected schools and, choose from some of those. For those of you who've missed the previous webinars, how do you create the perfect SOP? Please go onto our YouTube channel and you will see this. This is currently open only to our members, so you can watch this later. We've also done a webinar prior to this on the top private design and fashion schools to consider in 2024. We've gone about the process in how you should select a good school. So that should be good for you. But for today, we have United World Institute of Design, represented by Professor Rahul Bhattacharya. Now, a little introduction about Professor Rahul. He's an educationist, an art historian, an experienced designer, and he lives between Gandhinagar and Kolkata. He's currently the Assistant Director of the Department of Communication at United World Institute of Design. He's also got a lot of other activities that he's involved with. He's a member of the Cumulus Association's working group for new eating habits. In his independent practice, he's been using curation, writing, and workshops to explore experience design, abstraction, text, performance, painting, and the public. He's the curator of Drifters, an iconic exhibition series in contemporary art. He's the co-founder of Regional Arts Performance and Events. He is the managing director of Art and Deal magazine. He's the founding conveyor of the management of Art Treasures of India and BRIC, and co-founder of Kolkata International Performing Arts Festival. Since 2014, he's also been a part of 9 schools of art collectives, working towards developing workshop-based teaching methods for art, design, and creative theory. He's also written extensively for various journals and publications. Professor Rahul, fantastic to have you here representing UID. I think, in our group, there was tremendous talk about UID today, and looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Sorry, before I forgot to mention, for those of you who are looking at considering UID Ahmedabad, there is this bit.ly link that we're going to share. Please apply only using this bit.ly link, because we have Gopal here as well. All the links would be transferred to Gopal, or all applicants would be transferred to Gopal, and he's dedicated to answering questions, for the students who apply through this link. You need more questions to be answered, you need any basic information, we also have the listing on DQ Edge. And Professor Bhattacharya, over to you. I'm sorry for the long introduction, but a few important things we had to cover.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I have no idea about how many people I'm speaking to. I have a feeling that because it's a YouTube telecast, there might be a sizable audience. So welcome to a session on UID. I've been a part of UID for 5 years now and held various positions and inside the in the campus, academic and non-academic positions. So okay, so let's kind of begin, right? So the United World Institute of Design uh, started off with no idea as to how fast and how well we will grow. We were many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago, we started off as a design institute looking to give good immersive infrastructure and faculty to design students. But what had happened, the UID is a unique journey in India in many ways because our growth has been entirely response ridden, right? So from the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, the word of mouth and the outreach of UID just got us more and more students, more and more departments, more and more infrastructure. So if you have a kind of a uh, if you have like a snapshot of the development of UID, then in 10 years, we are now the largest design campus. The UID Ahmedabad is right now the largest single design campus in the whole country, with the highest amount of students, with the highest amount of faculty, with the highest amount of infrastructure, so on and so forth. But UID is now also, as we are right now, till about 2 years ago, we were confined to our Ahmedabad campus. So UID was synonymous with UID Ahmedabad. But now UID is growing even beyond our Ahmedabad campus. We have our NCR campus. Um, and now we will have other campuses all over the world. So UID is more than just a campus right now. It's more than just a set of philosophies. It is more about a way of approaching design education, which is being done in a very kind of a unique, different way. And that is what I'm going to slowly lead all of you through, right? So now, when I just mentioned, like, we are trying to kind of recreate design education for today's times, uh, and that brings me directly into the philosophy, you know, of the core philosophy of UID as such, right? So at UID, we realize that so whenever we come up, anyone who comes up and starts doing something new, like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when the seeding started, we were doing something new, right? And anyone will always see that how are we different from others? How can we be more relevant than others? So one of the things, and all of you have faced this situation over the last 10, 12 years, the industrial landscape of India has been such that this change has been happening at a very great speed. The older ways of working, the newer ways of working, the technology is coming, the systems working, the companies working, everything has changed and everything is changing constantly at a very fast rate. So somewhere down the line at UID, uh, and this is a philosophy that we've been trying to hold on and nurture for at least the last 6 years. And I'm sure even before that, I can tell you what I know, right? So over the last 5 to 6 years, we've been trying to nurture a philosophy inside the campus where we are always thinking about the future. We were always aware that a student, while taking admission, uh, studies for 4 years. Nowadays, design students, unlike before, want higher education in design. So for 6 years, they'll be student and then they will hit the market. So every academic year, we have a brainstorming session to predict how are the changes going to be 6 years later, not what is happening in the industry right now. And that makes us very different from others. Because most of the things, most everywhere else, and I will not be taking names because there are some very good and very prestigious design schools also, and they are doing it in their own approach. But what we do, I can only talk about that we are always concerned that our student will exit 6 years later in a fast changing world where technology will shift, the way of working will shift. And every year we take constant input from the industry, from industry leaders, because they are the people who have a better sense of forecast than we have. Also, and then in collaboration with the feedback that we get from industry leaders, we constantly tweak our pedagogy. Now, when I say pedagogy, pedagogy is a big word, right? It involves not only the syllabus making, it not only involves the teaching, but it also involves what are the other master classes will happen, what are the other workshops will happen, what are the field visits will happen. How is all that going to align into making my student better prepared for the industry and the work environment when my student passes out, right? So that is very important when we come to UID. Uh, so, of course, this pedagogical approach itself is our most unique thing, right? I mean, that is something that we devote a lot of man hour, a lot of intellectual hours uh, to be able to achieve that, right? Because it's not easy. Mostly, educational institutes try to hold on to one pedagogy mode for at least 4 to 5 years, then change it. But we are changing faster than anybody else, and it takes a lot of effort for the faculty, a lot of faculty development programs, and a lot of new faculties. We have a lot of foreign faculties coming in to be able to achieve this kind of agility. The key word here is that we're trying to be agile all the time, right? Uh, Now, when I was telling the backstory of UID, when it started, one word which I always said at that time is that we were interested in giving good infrastructure to our students. Uh, because we kind of somewhere down the line understand that design is at the end of it a making experience, right? And in a making experience, we are also looking at, say, in the newer ways of making in the industry. So I think we are the maybe the first design school in India to have like a proper maker's lab with 5 to 6 3D printers, including a food 3D printer. Align that maker's lab with a AR/VR lab right next to it, with a Felder lab just below it, with the kind of Felder machine that even the Felder company people who come and take our FDP tells us that in the whole country there are only 2 or 3 such advanced machines, right? So there is a lot of investment in that matter. It's a financial investment, it's a space investment, but it's also a planning investment, because when you put in that kind of financial investment, you are looking for a future. You're trying to build towards that future, right? You try to create an environment for your students towards that future. So that the future readiness was always a very strong part of UID, and we were already growing. In the last 2 3 years, we've taken another two new directions have come that has added and helped the UID philosophy to grow and become, according to me at least, much more stable. Is that we started looking inwards because we realized that we are at the end we are in India. And because we are in India, India is also the land of craft. Yes, yeah, India is going to the moon, but India is also making Kanjivaram saris, right? So, and India is a rare, beautiful country where both coexist. And because of that, we are suddenly over the last 2 years, and every year now it will become more and more. Eh, we are like ensuring that every batch gets a good exposure and a good opportunity to travel inside the country, observe inside the country, collaborate with traditional ways of making inside the country. And then also later on in their design projects, see that how that can be integrated with technology. So we are actually become, over the last 2 years, in UID has been giving a lot of focus to the Indian making ecosystem. Both craft and industrial, but more craft right now because we know that more and more the craft is the city and villages in India have become further and further from each other, right? And we have students who have never actually seen that proper village ecosystems, and that is also the reality of the country. So immersive experience, not only to see the craft, not to learn how it is made, but actually maybe spend 3 days in that craft cluster, see how the artisans live, work, eat, make raw materials, source raw materials. That gives a different kind of immersive insight to a future designer who would later on possibly work and do some interventions or innovations in that domain. The other, so I said two. One is that craft in India and that inward looking. The other is the research. And as we are realizing that in India, good systematic research has documented systematic research in the field of design has been slightly lacking. In other fields like science, humanities, it has been there and it's been very strong for many years. But design, because primarily when NID started, uh, it has always been looked at just as a making space, right? Designers come create something. Designers did not have the profile of people who will be researching, documenting, right? But the nature of design has changed, right? Especially with the coming of UX. And UX has put a lot of focus on user research. And with US putting such a lot of focus on user research and to actually do effective user like UX research, you need strong grounding in research skills. And not only that, and also we realize that to be on par with foreign universities, and that is one of the things because, in design, when you try to be different and you have to benchmark yourself somewhere, you have to see that, okay, are we good enough? According to how are we good enough? So our foreign university MOUs, and we have an extensive set of foreign university MOUs. Like if you visit the UID website, you will see like almost all major European universities are mainland European universities. We have MOU with faculty exchange, student exchange, and so on and so forth. And those universities will never sign an MOU with you if they don't respect your pedagogy and look at the work you are delivering, respect your future planning, and they find alignments, right? So with this extensive set of MOUs, we kind of know that we are going in the right direction, but we also realize that we need more hardcore research because research is also gives you IPR, right? And intellectual property is a very important property, and slowly even for designers, becomes patent and IPR is a very, very important thing, especially in the world of startups, in the way of investment, in the world of pitches, and with Indians becoming more and more entrepreneurial. Right, when we used to study design many years ago, every design student wanted to do a good job in a design studio. Now 60% of our students want to see themselves as future entrepreneurs. And when you see yourself as future entrepreneurs, you are not, you are as a design entrepreneur. Then these kind of knowledges and this kind of abilities become very, very important for you, right? Yeah. So basically, I don't know how many of you have come to the UID campus. I don't know how many of you will be coming to the UID campus over the next 1 year, because from UID is one place we always encourage our future students to come and visit our campus, because the campus itself is an experiential visit, right? I can tell you anything about UID on a Zoom or a YouTube pitch, but when you come to the campus, you'll actually see how it is encapsulated, right? So obviously, when our Makers Lab came about, like our Makers Lab is about 2.5, 3 years. Our Makers Lab impacted the way our students approach design completely, right? It opened up possibilities, the presence of 3D printing facilities, the presence of that kind of guidance, the push to, because we all in between we also went through a period of COVID, right? And COVID kind of digitized everything. And with COVID digitizing everything, the importance of mediums like VR and AR became more and more, because we were now everybody, you get to see in the media, right? How everything, like, so now even if you are an interior designer, you need to make your client pitch maybe in a VR simulation to give the client an idea of what the interior is going to be. And only then your budget is going to be okay. So the way of designing has completely changed. Before COVID, we used to think that only animation, gaming, and communication design people needed to know AR, VR. After COVID, we feel everybody needs to know. Even fashion people need to know. There are AR fashion shows, there are VR fashion shows, and they are good international, very important fashion shows. So it's not only UID, but the combination of, because we are only responding to the changing world. So it's the changing world, and our response to it has completely changed how our students work. Like when I entered UID and 5 years later, the kind of graduation projects that happen, the kind of experimentations with medium that happen at semester 5, semester 3 onwards. Foundation is still stable because it's more exercise based, more basic based. But from semester 3 onwards, I'm just doing a class on spatial intervention. And the kind of displays and it was like a 5-hour pop-up. They were just given 5 hours to come up with a pop-up display, to translate one experience. The kind of multimedia, using all kinds of things, using screens, using light, using physical props, the kind of flexibility that the student showed in the display and the ability the student showed in the display, it's actually amazing to witness as a teacher. It's also, sometimes it's a learning experience for us, right? Yeah. And Deon, just let me know how I'm going on time, because I sometimes tend to overtalk. I sometimes tend to undertalk.
Sure, sure. So I think, well, there are a lot of questions coming in. So if whatever you need to cover, probably in another 5-10 minutes, if you can close that up.
Perfect.
And then we'll go into Q&A. Yeah.
Or can we do one thing? Like, can we go through some questions first, and then then I can string it up towards the end? Will that also work? I'm just asking.
Maybe what will happen is, I think then we'll get mixed up. Then probably the conversation would go to a different tangent.
Perfect.
So whatever you have to say.
Maybe the last point. So there are two things actually. Because I know that on the other side, my invisible audience is actually a set of design aspirants, right? Or their parents, or that they're mentoring who. Right? And over the years, I know what are the questions on your head. So one important question would be alumni placements, right? So again, this information is actually easily available on our website, but because we are having an interactive session, I'm just laying it down for you. The nature of students coming to UID in my last 5 years in UID has completely changed. When I joined UID, 70 to 80% of my students wanted jobs, right? 10%, 15% wanted higher education abroad, and the rest wanted maybe to join a family business, start a business in collaboration with somebody. That was a very less number. Somehow after COVID, and we rejoined and became physical again, the entire thing has shifted. Now, a good 30% of our students want to go for higher education. Another good 30% of our students want to become entrepreneurs. Because there is a fascination. Also, the media is also encouraging everybody. You have the stories of somebody leaving a job in Google and opening a samosa stall and becoming a millionaire. So the media is also feeding on to this entrepreneurial spirit. And because maybe as a result of that, but I'm just giving you the statistics so that you can, understand what I'm trying to say. If 30% of the students want to become entrepreneurs, that leaves us with 40% students who want jobs, right? That has made our life indefinitely easier. Because it takes a lot of pressure off us. So we are now actually able to give much better placements. Obviously when 80% of the students are hitting the job market at the same time, then somewhere down the line, you are giving the best placements to the best students. There is always a compromise. There is no university or no institute that will not compromise, right? But now the requirement from if I can call our students or users, because we are designers, we look at user experience, right? So when the demands of the user experience have changed. So when my student is in, say, semester 8 right now, and the student wants to do a good course in UK, in a good design school in UK, wants to do a Goldsmith Masters, or wants to do wants to do RCA. Now, the teaching and the mentoring and the direction giving to the student is going to be something completely else. But one thing is there, that the alumni of any space, including UID, there is always a connection. Like, even if most of you will be maybe out of school, coming to school, right? And your teachers will always be your focal connections to keep you attached to your school. There will be some favorite teacher, there will be some teacher somewhere. The school itself becomes an abstract entity, but the individuals, the departments, the subjects, they become a memory bank, right? So instead of talking about UID alumni, which is, we have a huge alumni network, but what is more tactile and more easily visible is our department. Like every department has a very strong alumni, right? Communication design has a very strong alumni. LSA has a very strong alumni. Product design has a very strong alumni. So, and we have alumni coming, sharing their experiences. Now we are becoming more and more clear that we want the alumni to become mentors of our current students. So every department is now organizing these events where alumni come, will do either a sharing or a teaching or a master class, something or the other, right? To also to create that network funnel between um, existing students and pass out students. That is one area that private universities have historically struggled for. And we are trying our best to kind of gap it up, right? John, did I miss out on anything? The other questions will be about what department, what subjects, and that is best dealt through question answer and
Perfect,
everything.
perfect. This sounds good. I think Gopal has a video to share. Yep.
Yeah. I have a short video. It's like a virtual tour of the campus.
Yeah.
So at least we can take them to that.
Sure.
One
You
second.
please make sure you share sound
Sure.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Take them through. Is it audible, Leon sir?
Yeah, but you can put it on presentation mode.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, dear sir, you can come.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting. Thank you so much for that talk, Professor Rahul, and the video. Um, quite a few questions have come in. First, taking the question from Basavaraj Gupta, who's saying, while applying, I noticed two options, BDES and BDES Global Design Program. What's the difference?
Yeah. So there's a very basic difference between two of the courses. Both these courses are very different, right? So when we talk about BDES regular program, that is general program. So both the courses are UG program, right? That is one commonality between the two. And the other common thing is that both are globally recognized degree courses, degree program, right? And coming to the differences, while you have the option to choose between different branches in the former, that is B-Design general course, so you'll have 8 different options to choose from, like product design, visual communication, graphics, animation, motion graphics, then animation and digital media, sorry, game design. Then we have interior and furniture design. So likewise, we have 8 different branches to choose from, and that is a regular course. And coming to GDP, here the students will get a global exposure in design in a sense that they'll get to travel to 3 different universities that we have close association with in 3 different countries. So they'll get an exposure in a total of like 4 countries, taking into consideration India also. So for 3rd semester, they'll be traveling to Swinburne University in Australia. For 5th semester, they'll be traveling to Italy to pursue their semester from NABA, which is in Milan. And the 7th semester, they'll be pursuing it from Nottingham Trent in United Kingdom. So the stark difference is that they won't get to choose any particular branch over here as such. So here we are teaching design as a design per se, right? So design as a whole.
No, the word is not design per se. The word is actually interdisciplinary design.
Interdisciplinary design, yes,
Okay.
correct.
So our BDES Global is our interdisciplinary design course. It's an international interdisciplinary design course, mapped in a way, because I was one of the people, I was a part of the team that wrote the course, uh, like 3-4 years ago. So there's a philosophy that goes into the course, is that Swinburne gives you Swinburne basically has something called the design factory. It's one of the few design factories globally, you know. So Swinburne gives you a certain exposure at semester 3 level. After going to Swinburne at semester 3, you come back to UID. At semester 4, we help you to A, integrate the learning of Swinburne, and B, prepare you for the learning of Italy. Then you go and spend 4 months in Italy, where in Italy you can do micro specializations, because NABA gives you that facility, so you can pick up some quote unquote minor credits in fashion. You can pick up minor credits in product design, communication design, etc., etc. Then you come back again. You integrate to a interdisciplinary design project where you kind of map in all your learnings. Then you go to NTU. NTU is a specialist in research methodologies. So we are sending our students to NTU in semester 7, just before they do the graduation project. And there is no better country in the world right now to teach in English medium research than UK. UK has been the flag bearer of research, you know, and India, we are just starting off. So that's why we felt that at semester 7 level, UK is the best place for them to learn design research skills, which they can then come back here and apply it in their graduation project, right? It's a much more expensive course.
Yes.
You know, it's like, so it is a much more expensive course. I think it's about 75% more, or 30% more. I don't know, whatever. But I know intuitively, I know it's a much more expensive course. And yeah, because somebody I was looking at the YouTube question, somebody asked about that fee structure.
Yep.
You know, so I just kind of preempted that question. Right?
Sure. Yeah, we'll come down to the course fees. We'll take that part of it a little later. We'll do a few more questions from our members. if I choose, now there's a question from Radha. So Radha is saying, if I choose animation after my foundation, or maybe if she chooses animation, can I still get job offers from communication design? Is the industry flexible enough? Right. So that's one part of her question. The second part of a question is, in my first year, if I would I be covering communication design and animation in the foundation year? So in my second year, I can make a choice or a change in my specialization, right? So two parts to this question.
I'll quickly take that, Dion. Answering the second part first. Okay. Answering the second part first is that the window to make the change is after your first 6 months, after your first semester. That's your official window. Okay. Because the way we structure the curriculum, the first 6 months is the common foundation. Right. So everybody, no matter what you're choosing, there are basics of design that everybody needs to learn. Whether it's product design, communication design, whatever. You need to know your elements and principles of design. You need to know observational sketching. You need to know basics of ethnographic documentation. Without that, no designer in any field can move forward. Right. So that is a common grounding. Then obviously from that common grounding, it's easy for you to say that, okay, I took admission in communication design, but I want to do animation, or vice versa. Shiftings can very easily happen. Right. There is a small window of shifting which is slightly unofficial, but we do make a shift in only very special requests. And with the student showing a multi-fair is maybe at the end of the second semester also. And that's the last. After that, there can be no possible shift. Right. And there, if you are actually studying, say in this case study, if you are somebody is studying animation, we would want to go into communication design at the third semester level. Till the second semester to third semester, that shift will be skill-wise easy for you. Okay, you will not have to struggle. Whoever has asked the question, what's her name?
Radha.
Radha. So Radha, you wouldn't have to struggle, right? Now, as far as the industry is flexible enough or not, which is the more interesting answer? That's my favorite question, because that is the magic of design. Like, unlike engineering, unlike medical, engineering and medical, these are like long corridors. Like if you're studying civil, it's very hard for you, to migrate. If you have become a heart specialist as a doctor, suddenly for you to become a nerve specialist is very problematic. Horizontal changes, in these disciplines are very hard. But design is more like an inside open architecture with outside gates. Right. So if you even talk to UID faculty, if you see important designers, they started the journey somewhere else, and became something else, because design is also, because it's so fast evolving. Like, there are terms that never existed when we were students, right? Like experience design. The term itself did not exist. When we were students in India, nobody was talking about UX. Right? There was graphic design. There was not even a subject called, there was not even a discipline called communication design. Right? When we were students, we were teaching our faculties Photoshop, because we were the younger generation and Photoshop had just come to India and our faculties were old.
All right.
Right. So design that way is extremely flexible, but depends on your skill. Now, the problem here is, rather with your question, is communication design is a huge field, right? Which includes substantial part of graphic design. So if you are an animation person and you want to move into illustration, graphic design, and that kind of work, the transition is going to be easy for you. But if you're an animation person, if you want to move into, say, even game design, environmental design, and gaming environment design, metaverse design, even that journey will be easy for you, because you'll be able to extend your skill sets. But suddenly, as an animation person, you want a job as a UX designer. Completely different skill sets. Okay, now UX design is also a part of communication design. Graphic design is also a part of communication design. Right, but it's a Venn diagram. There's certain parts in which the Venn diagrams meet, and the certain parts of Venn diagrams don't meet. So you have to talk about your flair. So design is all about your portfolio, Radha. Nobody, once you pass out, no, nobody will ever ask you what you studied. That's the best and the worst part of design. You know, like as a student, when I passed out, I got very good marks. I was very happy. I was thinking I'll go to interviews and people will ask me about my marks, ask me what am I studying. Nobody has ever asked. Okay, they've only asked me about my portfolio. What work have I done? And at the end of it, that is what you need to develop before you pass out. So if your portfolio is flexible, if your portfolio showcases diverse strengths, then your branching out becomes much more easier. Yeah, Radha, is that good enough?
All right, thank you for that. Lot of questions coming in. So we've covered Joshia's question. So there's an interesting question from Narayan. Okay, he says, hello, sir, what are your predictions regarding the evolution of design by 2030?
Evolution of design. Who asked this question?
Narayan.
Narayan. So Narayan, design does not exist outside the society, right? So when we are mapping the evolution of design, we are actually mapping the evolution of technology and the evolution of society, because design is basically making for people. Design does not, at least there is some part of art, 20-30% of say visual arts, where you can just make for the sake of it without caring whether anybody appreciates your work or not. Like Vincent van Gogh died, and after that, 50 years later, people appreciated the work. But designers don't work like that. You know, because a part of designing is prototyping, testing, user feedback. These are very, very important parts of the design process as such. It is just not making something that is good looking. Right. So because we work with people so much, the shift in, like, so there are people, like if you say Google it, or if you ask ChatGPT this question, they will give you some bhari bharkam answers. They will tell you industry 4 is happening. They will tell you this tech is going to come, that tech is going to come. I don't give such answers because I have been fooled many times. Like 2 years ago, everybody thought that in 2 years, the metaverse is going to take over. Right? And everybody was changing curriculum, making curriculum, teaching curriculum, thinking that metaverse is going to rule. 2 years later, metaverse is what brought the company down. And the same company is now taking leadership through making large language models like Llama. So Meta is now more of an AI company than a metaverse company. Right? And I am myself, have started a small AI firm, and we are yet to go official. But I know deep in my heart that nobody in the world today can actually say how AI as a technology will be even 5 years later. Everybody is doing it on the fly. Right? Nobody can map what the stage of global warming will be 10 years later. Right? And design will have to respond to global warming. Design will have to respond to sustainability issues. Design has to respond to urbanity, changes in urbanity, lifestyle. Like when COVID hit, everybody sat at home, right? Design had to quickly respond. Apps had to respond. Teachers had to respond. The entire world responded. Nobody predicted that. Right? So the only thing that you can do, Nara, is to see the broader directions. Yes, I can say sustainability and space are going to be two things that we are not giving so much importance to now. But by 2030, this will get more importance than they have now. Right? Sustainability is going to be a major thing. Fashion design is going to change, because the biggest problem with fashion is that it produces a lot of excesses, a lot of toxic dumping of fashion things. But it doesn't mean that fashion designers will lose jobs, because there's a metaverse opening, there's a gaming world opening. You are now no longer making clothes for real human beings. You are making clothes for your digital avatars. What will they wear to a party in a metaverse? That also needs a fashion designer. Right? So that will change. Those changes will happen. Right? And nobody knows exactly. Like somebody who says, I know exactly how things will be 30 years later, Narayan, that person is lying, or a genius. I'm neither, right? But I can talk about the directions and how to approach it as a young mind. Because you will read a lot of every year, the media will tell you that this is the next big thing. And the young mind will get confused. Right?
All right. Excellent. Excellent. So Miriam Chaco is asking, does UID offer placements for product design? And similarly, we've got questions on other areas as well. So
We offer
maybe,
placements for all our schools. We do not say, okay, we have placements for
So I'll
communication
to
design.
simplify it, I'll simply pull out a document. I have a detailed report on the placement. So I'll pull it out so
right.
that they can get a sense of it.
Yeah, because we have a UI, KU has a placement cell,
Yes,
which we actually call the career servicing
career service,
department, right?
CRC. Yeah,
So, so that cell works with all KU students, right? But the best placements in design, and this is for everybody, right? The best states placements in design always come from your faculty, because the faculty are the people who are most connected with the industry.
correct.
Like they are actually live, they know the industry more than anybody else. The best way for a student to get placed is to not to think, okay, whether the university is going to give me a placement or not. That is a very passive way of looking at placement. The more active way of looking at placement is that what, as a student, how can I come, interact with my space, what kind of projects I can do to convince my HODs, my department leadership to recommend me to a good graduation project, recommend me to a good internship, right? And the way in the design world where you look at it, if I have faith in you and I've recommended you to a good internship, after that you're supposed to fend for yourself, because the internship, unless you mess it up, should translate into a job, because that's the pipeline, right? Internship, and then in the company you do a graduation project, then you get a placement inside the company. That's the ideal pipeline, right? Now, if okay, yeah, it's Gopal, you wanted to share something.
Yeah. So is my screen visible?
Yes,
Yes, it
visible.
is. Yeah.
It's visible, right? Okay, yeah. So these are some of the key highlights of 2022. So as you can see, it's clearly mentioned over there that we are in touch with 1,200 plus recruiters. So the highest salary has been 58,000 US dollars. At the company that offered are actually two. One is Buck International and the other is Japan Airlines. So the average salary that you can expect is somewhere around nine. It's between 9 to 12 lakhs, but in 2022 it was like 9 lakhs, and in 2022 we had 511 students passing out. Right. So we'll come to placements branch wise. Yeah.
Gopal, the left tab, if you can, left column, if you can just cross that out, where all tools are. Yeah.
Oh, right. Right. This
Yeah.
one. Okay. Okay. Is it fine now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So this is the percentage of placement branch wise, right? So if we talk about visual communication, it has been 100%, product design 100%, animation 100%, interior and furniture 96, 94, fashion and styling, automobile and transportation or mobility design is 92, LSA is 94, right? Coming to the next slide. Yeah, so these are some of the companies branch wise, right? Discipline wise. So it's clearly mentioned over there in the document also from UX and interaction design, which is a part of communication. So you can see the companies like Microsoft. These are well-renowned companies: Deloitte, Bosch, TCS, Capgemini, right? Coming to visual design, we have Amazon, Reliance, Dharma Productions, right? So some of the biggies we are talking about. Similarly, in animation, we have Jugaad, we have Alexi, Tata Alexi, right? So we have some very recognized companies from these different departments of disciplines of design, right? You can see for interior design also. From interior, we have Yasmin Mahmoudia, also a German interior and furniture and space designer. So she is one of the top recruiters at UID. Right? Automobile and transportation design. Then this is for product design. So these are reputed companies we are talking about, and these are the list of companies where the alumni, our student alumni, are already placed at, and they are really working. And from that ways, it becomes easy for us to source placements every year, right? That is one of the channels that we are using along with the faculties, because faculties have the greater industrial exposure compared to the companies itself. This for fashion, LSA, right? Yeah, so highest CDC of 2022, as I had mentioned earlier. So it's Buck, which is 58,000 US dollars. Then Japan Airlines, 58,000 US dollars. These are annual payments that we are talking about. Then Pentagram, 22 lakhs per year. So yeah, Yasmin Mahmoodia, which I mentioned a while ago, 40 lakhs per year. She's, as in this particular venture, is one of our top recruiters at UID. So similarly, it's a mixed bag, this thing, but we are venturing into all of the disciplines. So the percentage is, if you average it out, it's somewhere around 95 to between 95 to 100%, right? So that is the scenario of placement at UID.
All right, thanks for that.
Welcome, sir.
Gopal. Sure. Going forward.
There's one interesting question, Deon, which was about, let me open the, where did it go? Something to do with, yeah, does UID teach software? Does UID teach software? I heard NIT does not teach you actual software. I think Anu Korean and Korean asked that question. Can you see that here? And it's kind of interesting to, just out of curiosity, okay, like I don't know what an actual software and what a non-actual software is. What so, and it's done this way, right? In UID, the only difference we have is that because we have a MOU and an understanding with Adobe, and we give license Adobe Cloud to all our students, and we also charge our students a nominal amount for that, much lesser than the market amount, but a nominal amount for that license version. Every year, there will be somebody from the Adobe team who will come and give you a round of introduction as to how to use that thing. And in our foundation semester and till our third semester, we do have software classes, right? And we have staggered it up. Like we first teach you a Photoshop Premiere, Photoshop Illustrator, then take you to motion graphics, slight motion graphics and publication softwares. And then we kind of leave it you to kind of develop the skills through making projects. Then you go slightly higher up. Like if you're an animation person and you want to work with VR, then another software you need to know is maybe Unity, right? So at that stage, then Unity will be taught to you. But then Unity will be mentored to you. But a department like, say, LSA or interior, or even industrial design, where say something like CAD is very important. Now, CAD being such a technical software, we just cannot expect you to learn it by yourself. So then you will have proper classes to teach you CAD, right? But once you've learned CAD, you've learned one 3D software well, then say a Rhino or a Blender, we will mentor you to learn it by yourself. And that is also very important because, the softwares that are prominent when you are a student might not be the software prominent when you are in the industry. Like you don't even know 10 years later whether there'll be Photoshop or not. But you know that there will be image editing in some form or the other, right? And that is what you need to learn. How to use software for image editing. Photoshop is just one tool. Through that tool, you should be, after learning that tool, you should be good enough to adapt yourself to any other tool coming your way. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for that. Good question from Geeta, who's asking, is there a possibility of specializing in two areas, like taking a major in animation and a minor in UI UX?
Tough question to answer. the reason I said tough question to answer, 1 year ago, if you had asked me this question, I would have just said no. But now with the national education policy kicking in, and national education policy actually mandates that we should be able to give our students that kind of facilities. Now, NEP is in a rollout process. But at UID, we are trying to see how we can bring in the elements of some of the best elements of NEP and give it to our students as soon as the next academic year is possible. As of right now, we don't have it, but we hope to have it by the time you guys take admission. And because it is mandated by the government of India, and sooner or later, every other place will have to have it. We will be trying our best, especially over summers when we have a summer break, when we realign our curriculum. And before you take admission, this will be cleared out. We would ideally want you, and we have something like that. It's not that we don't, but it's not like in America, they have a good system of calling it major and minor. In India, that system does not exist, but we have other ways. Like, for example, we have, say, a UID elective, right? So if you are even if you're studying fashion design, in your 2 semesters, you will be picking up credits from, say, communication design or whatever you want to do, right? And that could be treated as a minor. But it is still not officially a minor. It will not reflect on your mark sheet as a minor subject. That might take time. But as it is, the Indian hiring cycle also does not really understand major and minor, right?
Yes.
So,
and to add to that,
yes,
there's one more thing. So not only from design, if a student wants to learn the legality aspects of design, so they can pick up a particular aspect from law, which is our parallel course that we run in KU. So they can particularly pick that as a part of the elective, and they can pursue it along with design. So that
so
one
along
elective,
with UID electives, we have something called, at a slightly higher semester, we have something called KU electives,
KU electives,
which is the university electives.
Yeah.
Right, because in today's designers need to also maybe want to have a little bit of entrepreneurship knowledge, might want to learn deeper design management, might want to learn more about law, So that window is also open, but it's not a major minor thing. So I'll be very clear about that.
Sir, you're mute. You're on mute. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So Tanisha Saldana is asking, is fashion styling and photography available as an undergraduate course?
So
fashion, styling, and photography is not the name of the course. That is the learning outcome of the course. If you ask me, like if you are actually doing fashion and lifestyle, that is the new name of the course, no, Gopal?
Fashion design, yeah, fashion design and styling.
Fashion design and styling. So now the word photography is not there, but the photography is the obvious word there, because you cannot do fashion designing and styling. But so if you actually, the best way to look at it, whoever has asked the question, our website is very good in terms of giving you details of what is being taught under each school. So if you go to the that section of the UID website, so if you do fashion designing and styling, it will tell you exactly what subjects are taught in first sem, what subjects are taught in second semester, so on and so forth. So you'll know exactly where the photography inputs are coming, how much the inputs are coming. That way we are quite transparent,
but we are also incorporating not only style, as in styling and photography. So we are incorporating the aspects like fashion management, fashion merchandising, fashion communication, everything. So that will be taught as in the entirety of fashion design, right? And these things will be available in DQH also. So you can visit DQH for that. So details will
displaying
be there.
fashion, like fashion retail display setups.
Right.
So it's not only fashion styling and photography.
Right. So we'll take as many questions as possible because we need to wrap up in the next probably 5 to 10 minutes. But yeah, so as quickly as possible, Ayushi Tiwari is asking, is it compulsory to choose a specialization right away in the application form? And if yes, can we change it later on?
We already got the answer. Yes, it is compulsory, but you can change it within after 6 months and in a select basis at the end of the first year.
Yeah. So I think her thing is in the application form, if I write, say, communication design, later before I join, can I change that? Can I make that?
Yeah,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
can, you can.
All right.
Not only that, even
So
if you want
what
to switch
ideally
campus,
what our students do is that they write up communication design, but also reach out to somebody from the marketing team like Gopal or whoever, saying that we need mentorship. Right? We are undecided. We need help in choosing the subject. Then Gopal will do a little bit, one level of mentoring, and then if needed, we'll pass it on to the HODs.
yeah,
Right?
correct.
So the HOD, while after talking to a couple of HODs, you will get more clarity. And even then, after 6 months, you can always change. So that enough flexibility is there.
So, Ganeshan Ramachandra Rao is asking, now this is probably a question that I will answer. What is your ranking among design schools in India and around the world? I'm not sure about the ranking of Karnataka University or UID, but in general, um, personally from a DQ lab side, we've not really seen an official ranking system in India, but I don't, that's very representative, but I don't know if you all have any
So
sources.
there, you are absolutely right, and there is no official ranking system in India. Every university will advertise some ranking system where they are at the top. So I don't take those systems seriously. There is one international university ranking system, and in that ranking system, only 2 Indian universities show up. None in the first 50. I think in the between 50 to 70, that is the time when NID shows up. And between 80 to 90 of that was first 100 global ranking. So between 80 to 90 of the ranking, I think NIFT Delhi shows up. And
Right.
primarily because they are much more older and because there are criteria in the ranking. So right now, UID can no way match the NID alumni and their inputs and the industrial projects and whatever. Maybe in 10, 15 years we can. But so that's the answer.
All right. Next question from Ganesh and Ramachandra Rao again. What's the fee structure? So you'll have the BDES program and the global BDES program. Do you all have an integrated master's program?
No, not as
only these two. Yeah.
Yeah. So these two program at the UG level, and since we have
And the
two
PG,
campuses,
we have a master's program.
yeah, masters. So this is pertaining to UG, I guess. So that's why I'll stick with UG only. So for UG, the course fees, since we have two campuses, one is in Ahmedabad and the other campus is in NCR. So in Ahmedabad, BDES, the regular, that is a general honors program. So this is of 4 years and the total course fees will be 24 lakhs. That is 6 lakhs per annum, right? This is your regular program. Coming to B Design Honors GDP, again, which is an honors program, a degree program, which is for 4 years. And the total fees will be 34 lakhs for 4 years, right? Coming down to NCR campus. So for NCR campus, the fees is slightly lesser compared to Ahmedabad campus. So your BDES general campus, general honors program, which was 24 lakhs in Ahmedabad, it's 22 lakhs in NCR. And the GDP program, which is 34 lakhs in Ahmedabad, it's 32 lakhs in NCR campus. So there is a gap of 2 lakhs in between both the campuses.
All right. So there are questions pertaining to placements, which I'm not going to ask, which has already been covered. Global. Okay, there's a question from Vidya Bandarkar, who was asking, what are the global exchange and transfer programs that UID has with foreign universities, and how does it work? What are the specializations and universities? Yeah.
So that's a vast area, because we have, like I said when I was presenting, like we have a MOU with about 50 universities or maybe even more, right? So that specialization part is very broad because every university has different kind of specializations and pretty much everything you want to study under the sun, you can. Now, how do we enable you to do it? Okay, so there are this summer programs. Gopal, just catch me if I'm wrong somewhere. There are these summer programs where there are also semester exchange. And so basically the summer programs and the semester exchange are the foundations of you getting to know foreign universities. But what we really also help is that because of the MOUs, our students wanting to go into higher education in universities, they get a preference, they get discounts, they get like admission preference, they get mentoring preference, they get a subject choice preference, which are very difficult to get in foreign universities, right? So that's a preference that they get over an extensive network of universities, especially in Europe. We don't have that network of universities in America yet. But in Europe and now in Australia, we have.
All right. One thing you mentioned in your talk, which I thought was particularly interesting, and I would like you to just cover this up again. You spoke about the faculty exchange programs, right? I thought this was particularly interesting because it's important for faculty from India to go abroad and those faculty to come here. So how does that work?
So again, works through our MOUs with universities. Right now, our first priority, of course, we are also invested in our faculties going abroad and teaching in those spaces, and which will start. The first lot of that is just going to start in a couple of months. But right now, our main focus is to get the best of the foreign faculties into our campuses. And that we've been successfully doing, not super successfully. We would like to be much more successful about it. But every semester, we are getting a bunch of 4 or 5 good foreign faculties, to come and do block teaching mode of engagements. Because it's not just some foreigner coming with a fancy thing and coming and, doing a masterclass and a workshop and disappearing. Right. So now they actually stay on the campus, stay in the guest house, and teach a important subject from the beginning to the end at least. So, and they come for 2 months, 3 months, 1.5 months. So that qualitative exchange has really, really improved. And now it's our time to give the reciprocal part of the MOUs. Like if a university has sent their faculties, we also need to send some faculties there. And our actually faculties also already are doing it, in the sense that when our global design students go to Australia, our faculties go to Australia accompanying the students. And when they are in Australia with the students, they are taking classes, master classes, workshops in that university concerned also. So that is, as of now, right now, Deon, that's the answer.
Yeah, about the discipline, sir, I'll just break it and categorize into 4 different school of thoughts. So we have School of Communication, which has visual communication, graphics, animation, and digital media. And we have game design and simulation. So coming to School of Industrial Design, we have product design, automobile and transportation design, and we have interaction design. And coming to School of Fashion and Lifestyle, we have fashion design and styling. And we have School of Interior and Furniture, which is, of course, interior and furniture design. So these are the 8 different disciplines that we are offering. This is in Ahmedabad. In NCR, we are offering 5 disciplines, barring your as in game design, which is not there, and interaction design is not there, and automobile is not. These 3 are not there in NCR.
So we are offering product, we are offering fashion, we are offering communication design, we are offering global design. Yeah, that's our NCR bouquet, right?
NCR bouquet,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
We are 10 minutes overstretched. Can this be the last question?
We'll try and take a few more. Sami is asking who offers the degree. Sami, it's Karnavati University, which is their own university. Ayushi Tiwari is asking, do you suggest visiting the campus before finalizing your
Absolutely.
choice?
Yeah, we want everybody to visit our campus.
Right. And I think for the round 2, the interview round, they have to come to campus, right?
That is a mandatory. Yes, whichever campus they would have chosen, they'll have to drop into that particular campus.
Right. Sami is also asking, can she have access to the PPT which you shared, Gopal? I'm not sure if you'll do that.
Yeah, that's a tough thing.
That's a video. I think they will find it in our website playing somewhere or the other.
Yes.
Gopal?
Not on the website. You can find it on the DQ Edge also. I'll share it with Dion. So we can, Dion says so he can.
Okay. Date of the design aptitude test is 7th Jan. 7 Jan and Korean, it's 7 Jan, not 29 Jan, please note. if a student graduates from leaders. Okay, so things are covered. So Juhi Garg is asking, do we need to decide on either BDES versus BDES Global? Or can it be changed later? The answer is no, it cannot be changed later. So you need to choose it in
That
advance.
is the only change that we don't allow.
Yeah.
Inside BDES, you can change departments because the
Because
fee
both
structure and the acclimatization structures are so completely different.
different. And the thing is, they can change it as much as they want just before the session starts. That's it.
Sure. Savita Krishna Kumar is asking, what are all the content you expect in the portfolio after DAT?
Sir, your forte. Rahul sir.
Sorry guys to disappoint you, because this is my pain point, right? Only thing that we expect from the portfolio is not repetition. We don't want perfect drawings of apples that you don't know where came from. We don't want perfect perspectives of buildings you've never seen. We need personal touch and originality, right? And so that's the most important thing. The other thing what we want to see is that that is the icing on the cake, is that if you can demonstrate to us that you are also interested in, like, trying to make something again and again. Because in design, iterations, like trying to get perfection through multiple makings, is a very important skill, right? So it's not good enough for us that, because see, we have good drawing teachers. Even if you don't know how to make a perfect apple, we'll train you how to make a perfect apple. But the things that are harder to train is imagination. You cannot train people to imagine, right? It comes with you. That's a part of your quality, right? Your portfolio should reflect those qualities of yours. Like, what are your principal qualities and what are your favorite ways of expressing it, right? And as honest to yourself and as innovative in your portfolio, like there have been students who have not really carried too much portfolio, but have been come for a fashion interview wearing a sari they have designed, wearing the dress they have designed, all the jewelries they have designed, and that was their portfolio, right? And that really worked. So you have to be innovative. So one of the things about design is that, are you imaginative, are you innovative, and are you hardworking? In your portfolio, just convince us that you're imaginative, you are hardworking, right? And you are like innovative, right? You're willing to do things differently. That is enough. And the rest we can take it up from there. Then we'll teach you everything else.
Okay. Shilpa Vipin is asking, what does KU core course international language L1, L2, L3 mean? Are the students also to learn languages mentioned in the global BDES program?
No, in global BDES program, there are no languages mentioned.
Okay.
I mean, Italy is the only place where, but NABA is a very cosmopolitan culture. Australia is an English-speaking country. UK is, of course, English-speaking country. NABA is the only Italian space you go to, but in a very cosmopolitan culture. And now we've already had students. We have got 2 sets of students who've gone to NABA, spend semesters, and come back. But the main question I see is the international foreign language question. Okay, so here, this is a real, like we say, and like I was saying in UID, we were always trying to think that what will our students do 6 years later when they pass out, right? So this is another of our innovations, tweaks, experiments that come out of this thought process. We figured out that we are increasingly going into a more and more dynamic world where Indians are working with design teams which are across the world. We have long distance work where, and then we narrowed down these foreign languages where in India we have decent resource, and that will also equip the students to get some kind of a confidence and exposure when they approach global inter-country, intercontinental design teams and things like that. It's a very basic introduction. It's advanced and more than advanced. Right, so it is basic and advanced. Like if you go to study French, like I have just my department, like my ex-department, was the first department to implement this foreign languages. And we've taught this languages. And the rest of the departments are waiting to implement it. And it is a good, for me, it's a good kind of a added skill, in your portfolio. And also the fact that with so many of our students wanting to go abroad for higher studies, and Germany and those countries give such good scholarships, and they have such good institute, and the prerequisite is knowing a bit of German. In France also, the prerequisite for admission, otherwise our students spend 6 months just getting the basics of French right before they can go and study design there. So to solve that problem, we've kind of made this innovation, and it's really an innovation and an experiment. I can just tell you that much right now.
All right. Thanks for that. Last two questions we're taking. Okay. One of them is on the scholarships. So could you elaborate if you'll have scholarships and what those scholarships are?
Not on the admission front, not as of now, but we do offer few on the merit basis while they are pursuing their course in the entirety of 4 years. So in between, there'll be some scholarships available. That is purely on merit basis.
All right. All right. Okay. And finally, so Juhigar, your question on masters in foreign universities has been answered. Geeta Nagaraj is asking, okay, the facilities and infrastructure wise, NCR and Ahmedabad campus, are they comparable? Does the assignment of campus happen at the time of counseling? How many seats are available?
Okay.
Okay. Gopal will be better suited to ask, but just the wording is wrong. Like the campus, we want it to be your choice. We don't want to assign you a campus, and then you are not comfortable in Ahmedabad. We don't want that backlash. The campus is your choice. I mean, because the NCR campus is a new campus and it's still not has all the batches, and it's still in a but it's a third batch. This lot will be the third batch, right? You'll still take 1 more year for the graduation batch of NCR campus to happen, right? And the infrastructure setting up, though it is quite good, but it's still in the process. Obviously, UID Ahmedabad campus is the mothership, right? So it is slightly better equipped, but in a year and a half, both the campuses will be equally equipped. But still right now, because of the difference, that's why Gopal told you that NCR fee structure is slightly different. It's slightly cheaper, affordable than the Ahmedabad campus. That is only because of this minor differences.
So coming to the number of seats, so in Ahmedabad campus, we'll come to Ahmedabad campus first. So in your regular BDes program, that is BDes Honors regular general course, so we have 480 seats, right? For GDP, we have 60 seats in Ahmedabad, right? Coming to NCR campus, we have 180 seats for BDes general course, while there are only 30 seats for the GDP course in NCR campus. And there are strictly no demarcations discipline wise. It's purely your choice, and whichever you deem fit, you'll be given that post your portfolio, and these 3 evaluation processes are completed.
Okay, perfect. So last question from Narayan Shankar. Are there any courses that prepare them for entrepreneurship?
Yeah, of course. That's what I've been trying to tell you. I mean, previously they were not. But right now, because once we realize that our students have a primary interest in entrepreneurship, and the government of India has taken out its policies that are favoring entrepreneurship and pushing for in-house startups and that. So now we have design management, entrepreneurship, professional development, professional ethics as an integrated part of your design curriculum. Right, and right now semester 7, they've come back from their internship. The first module that they are studying, and a 2-week module that they're studying after coming back from internship, is entrepreneurship, because industry is a working experience, and then you have entrepreneurship, which is a self-led experience. and by the time before you go into semester 8, you have a sampling of both. Right. So yes, we have a very now, and with each year that focus is becoming more and more, because we also have a very active and quite a good school of business. So because our resource is so easily next door, it's easy. It's not that we have to get resources from elsewhere. It's easy as a university for us to buffer our design with the and we have an innovation lab. We have a startup mentoring. So entrepreneurship is very high on our agenda. Yeah.
All right. Round 2, one last question. Round 2, when is it going to be?
You tell me.
Yeah, round 2, right? So round 2 is generally, see, we do it once your board exams are over. So that we give you that breathing space. So that is round 2. So it's a combination of 2 rounds basically. So it's a one-day affair, situation test and portfolio evaluation. Right? So it's a one-day affair.
Normally it is what, 2-3 weeks after board exams are over?
No. Yeah, 1 week maybe. 1 week after the board exams.
1 week, 2 weeks after board. Because just that breathing space that you go submit to your portfolio, get your energies back on track, then come for this entrance.
All right. Thank you so much. You've gone way ahead of time. Those of you who've enjoyed this webinar, please click the like button. It's very important to us. Rahul Bhattacharya, fantastic session. Lovely to hear from you and your thoughts. Gopal, again, you're always the one who's getting these things organized. Thank you so much for being part of this wonderful session and looking forward.
Nice to be with you, Dion.
Thank you.
And yeah, DQ Labs. Okay, I keep DQ Labs in my radar.
Yeah.
And see you sometime soon. Also, do you come to our campus? Dion, have you come to?
Yeah, a couple of times. Yeah.
Gopal, next time he comes, just ensure I would like to meet him in person.
Sure, definitely.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, Dev.
Bye. Hey, Gopal, you can remain online. I know Rahul's in a hurry.
Sure.
I'll end the webinar. Right?
Yeah.
Thanks so much, everyone.